chosen one. The quiet choice you have just made may remain unseen by the world, but I have clearly seen the sincerity, selflessness, and gentle light that moved you to make it. Not every meaningful action takes place before a crowd, and not everything sacred must be proven through applause. There are moments when only you know how deeply you struggled to choose kindness instead of anger, silence instead of responding with words that would wound, helping someone even while you were exhausted, or forgiveness while your heart was still in pain. It is within these quiet choices that your true character is revealed. I was near you as that decision took shape. I know you did not make it to seek a reward, praise, or gratitude from others. You made it because there is still a pure place within you that desires to protect what is good, and that is more precious than you realize. Archangel Michael, the faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is mentioned in this moment as a symbol of the courage you have just demonstrated. Michael does not come to make you fearful of invisible things, nor does he bring a threat that forces you to act hastily. His image reminds you that genuine courage does not always mean standing in the middle of a great battle. Sometimes courage is simply keeping your heart upright when you have every reason to become bitter. It is refusing to return the cruelty you once received. It is protecting someone vulnerable, speaking the truth respectfully, or leaving an environment that is gradually taking away your peace. I see that strength within you, even when you believe you are merely trying to do something very small. Do not underestimate the small choices made through love. A timely word of encouragement may help someone not to give up. One occasion when you listen patiently may help another person feel that they are still valued. A sincere apology can begin the healing of a relationship that seemed permanently damaged. A decision not to spread a story that would harm another person's reputation can prevent a great deal of pain. The world often notices great deeds, outstanding achievements, and powerful declarations. But I also see what is done in secret. I see when you return what does not belong to you. Keep a promise when no one is checking, and choose honesty, even when deception could bring you a quicker advantage. These things do not make you perfect, but they show that you are learning to live in greater harmony with love, truth, and mercy. Perhaps you are expecting life to respond immediately with a magnificent sign after you have done something good. I understand that desire. After many difficult months and years, you want a miracle to appear and confirm that every sacrifice was meaningful. But I want you to understand maturely that the good you do is not a transaction, and grace does not operate like merchandise, activated by an outward action. You do not need to press a button, post a comment, or demonstrate your faith publicly before I will listen to you. My love does not depend upon a like, a share, or anything performed under pressure. If you wish to express agreement, do so freely. If you wish to share a message, share it because it may bring peace to another person, not because you are afraid that a blessing will disappear if you do not. What you have just done has not opened a mysterious gateway of energy, but it may open a new path in the way you live. When you choose forgiveness, you begin closing the door of resentment. When you choose honesty, you lay the foundation for trust. When you choose to help, you plant a seed of kindness in the world. When you courageously say no to wrongdoing, you are building a new strength within yourself. These changes may not be loud, but they are real. One good choice today can become a good habit tomorrow, and those habits gradually shape your life. This is how profound transformation usually occurs. Not through one moment that causes difficulty to disappear, but through many small decisions that help you become wiser, freer, and more steadfast. I know that you have done good without receiving recognition. You gave, yet the receiver never thanked you. You loved someone, yet they still turned away. You tried to preserve a relationship while the other person refused to build it with you. Such experiences may cause you to wonder whether kindness still has meaning. But remember that goodness does not lose its value simply because another person fails to appreciate it. Yet I also do not want you to misunderstand kindness as permission for others to exploit you. Love must walk with wisdom. Compassion needs boundaries. Forgiveness does not require you to remain where harm continues repeating itself. You can wish someone well while choosing to keep your distance. You can release hatred while firmly protecting your peace. If the action you have just taken was an act of forgiveness, understand that forgiveness does not necessarily bring immediate relief. Some pain takes a long time to settle. Some memories continue returning, even after you have chosen not to feed resentment. Do not interpret that as failure. Forgiveness is sometimes a decision that must be made repeatedly until what happened no longer governs the way you live. Today, perhaps you have only stopped wishing that the other person would suffer as you suffered. Tomorrow, you may stop retelling the story with rage. Then one day, you may realize that hearing their name no longer throws your heart into turmoil. Be patient with that process. I do not force you to forget quickly, but I invite you not to build your home in the past. If what you have just done was helping someone, give sincerely while respecting your own limits. You do not need to save everyone. You are not responsible for carrying every pain around you. Sometimes the best help is simply being present and listening. Sometimes it is offering honest advice. At other times, you need to encourage the person to seek professional support, family assistance, or a trustworthy community. Do not turn kindness into a way of neglecting yourself. When you become exhausted, it will be difficult to sustain love over time. Learn to rest without guilt, receive help without shame, and admit when a burden has become more than you can carry. If your choice was to leave something that was no longer healthy, I know you may feel both relief and grief. Some right decisions still hurt the heart. Leaving someone who is not right for you does not mean that every beautiful memory was false. Ending one chapter does not mean that all the years you gave to it were wasted. You learned, matured, and gained a clearer understanding of what you need. Carry the lesson, but do not carry bitterness. Allow yourself to grieve, but do not use grief as a reason to return to a cycle that has repeatedly depleted you. I do not want you to continue calling familiar suffering. Love merely because you are afraid of unfamiliar loneliness. You may feel that something new is beginning within you. You do not need to turn that feeling into an absolute prophecy. Receive it as an invitation to live with greater awareness. Perhaps the new thing is learning to see yourself with compassion instead of judgment. Perhaps it is a determination to build a good habit, repair a relationship, learn a new skill, or stop something that has been quietly harming you. Do not merely wait for your circumstances to change. Ask what you can do today to cooperate with this renewal. Perhaps you need to reorganize your schedule, complete a responsibility you have delayed, or begin a conversation you have avoided for too long. A better future is not merely awaited. It is built through honesty, patience, and responsible action. I also want you to stop searching for your value in other people's reactions. Perhaps you do something good and no one notices. Perhaps you apologize and are not forgiven immediately. Perhaps you change, while those who knew your former self continue to doubt you. Do not allow that to make you give up. Genuine growth needs time to be proven through consistent living. You cannot force others to trust you immediately, but you can continue living in a trustworthy manner. You cannot control the story they tell about you, but you can control the way you behave today. You do not need to run everywhere explaining every misunderstanding. Allow your consistency, humility, and good choices to speak gradually on your behalf. When I tell you that your action has meaning, I am not saying that every desire will now be fulfilled immediately. Neither am I promising that you will never face difficulty again. What I want you to understand is that every time you choose what is right, you become stronger for tomorrow. You reduce the power of old habits. You learn to respond through peace instead of panic, truth instead of concealment, and kindness instead of revenge. That is already a significant change. When your inner life is renewed, you will notice opportunities you once overlooked, build healthier relationships, and make wiser decisions. This is not magic. It is the fruit of a life being shaped through love and responsibility. Perhaps you have become accustomed to believing that you must do something extraordinary before I will care for you. But I have remained close, even during your most ordinary days. I see you wake up with a heavy heart and still try to fulfill your responsibilities. I see you care for your family, perform work that few people recognize, and restrain your exhaustion so that you do not hurt others. I also see the times when you fail, become angry, act selfishly, or make the wrong choice. I do not deny those things, but neither do I define you only by them. I see a person who is still learning. I want you to accept responsibility for your mistakes without turning responsibility into self-hatred. Apologize when needed, make amends within your ability, and demonstrate change through action. Then allow yourself to move forward. My beloved child, what is changing first is not that every circumstance around you suddenly turns in a single moment, but the way you see yourself, the way you choose, and the way you walk after months and years that left you weary. I want you to understand that one sincere decision can open a new direction, not through a mysterious power that instantly removes every difficulty, but through the quiet strength of awareness, courage, and love expressed in action. When you no longer react through old habits, your future has already begun to change. When you choose compassion instead of revenge, honesty instead of concealment, and correction instead of self-defense, you have stepped onto a road that those who see only your past may not yet recognize. They may continue doubting, reminding you of your failures, or refusing to believe that you can mature. But you do not need to argue in order to prove yourself. Allow time, consistency, and the good you do to speak. Genuine change does not need to display itself. It is seen in the way you live when no one is watching, the way you treat those who cannot benefit you, and the way you rise after days that did not unfold as you hoped. Archangel Michael, the faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is mentioned to remind you that courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage is continuing toward what is right, even while uncertainty remains within you. Michael's image is not intended to draw you into speculation about unseen powers, but to remind you to stand firmly in truth, protect what is good, and refuse to surrender to the voice that teaches you to despise yourself. some of the greatest battles are invisible to other people. They are the struggles through which you refuse to become bitter after betrayal, refuse to become cold after your love has been disregarded, and refuse to use your pain as an excuse to hurt others. I have seen those silent battles. I know there were times when you had to remind yourself to remain calm, walk away from an argument before saying something you would regret, or lay down your pride and acknowledge that you also had a part in what went wrong. Those choices are not weakness. They are evidence that you are becoming more steadfast. The silence of the recent season has not been meaningless. Perhaps you thought you had been forgotten, because no one asked how you were feeling. You may have watched others receive recognition while your effort was treated as something ordinary. There were days when you wanted to explain everything, to force others to understand how much you had endured, but in the end you remained quiet, because you knew that speaking in that moment might make everything more confused. I do not want you to use silence to bury pain forever, but certain periods of quietness taught you to observe more deeply, listen more carefully, and stop reacting solely from temporary emotion. In stillness, you began to recognize what truly matters, which relationships nourish you, and which ones continually cause you to question your worth. You also learned that not every criticism is true, but neither should every difficult word automatically be rejected. Maturity helps you receive what is useful, correct what needs correction, and release what does not belong to you. Your compassionate nature is not a weapon to be used against others, but a strength that helps you avoid becoming like what once wounded you. Yet, compassion does not mean allowing anyone to violate your boundaries, disrespect your kindness, or continually consume your strength. I want you to love with discernment. Learn to listen, but do not carry another person's responsibilities for them. Learn to help, but do not use rescuing everyone as a way to avoid caring for yourself. Learn to forgive, but do not confuse forgiveness with returning to a place where disrespect remains unchanged. You can hope that someone who hurt you will mature while still maintaining the necessary distance. You can release anger without restoring a relationship that has lost its safety. Compassion is most powerful when it walks together with truth, boundaries, and healthy self-respect. Your recent choice may have been very simple. Perhaps you apologized to someone you once hurt. Perhaps you stopped yourself before speaking harshly. Perhaps you decided to leave a habit that was destroying your peace. Perhaps you prayed quietly, not asking for greater blessings for yourself, but hoping that others would also receive support. Perhaps you forgave someone who never apologized. You may wonder whether something so small can make any difference. It does, because every good decision changes the person making that decision. When you repeat good choices, your character is formed. When your character is renewed, the way you work, love, manage money, care for your family, and build your future gradually changes as well. This is the outpouring toward which I want you to move. Not an intense feeling that rises and disappears, but a steady stream of wisdom, discipline, gratitude, and determination to live more beautifully. Therefore, do not turn this moment into a promise that your reputation, home, finances, or every plan will certainly change in the way you desire. I do not want you placing your trust in dazzling assurances and then becoming disappointed when life still requires time, effort, and responsibility. Nevertheless, you can trust that new choices create new possibilities. When you work honestly and develop your abilities, your opportunities may expand. When you learn to manage what you possess, your finances may gradually become more stable. When you build relationships upon respect and trustworthiness, your reputation may be restored over time. When you learn to consider carefully, plan and seek proper counsel, you may move closer to a safe home. I do not deny practical difficulties, but neither do I want you to see yourself as entirely powerless before them. There are things you cannot control, but many things can still begin changing through your actions. Today, good guidance does not require you to chase vague signs. It helps you see clearly the responsibility before you. If you sense that a new direction is opening, examine it through peace, wisdom, and healthy results. A right decision may not always be easy, but it will not require you to betray good values, harm others, or live in panic. Give yourself time to think. Seek the counsel of mature, sincere, and experienced people. Prepare carefully before entering a job, relationship, or major plan. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It helps you face reality without despair. It does not cause you to despise preparation, but helps you continue preparing, even when you cannot yet see the full result. I know you once hoped that everything taken from you would return exactly as it was. You wanted lost time to be repaid, opportunities restored, justice carried out, and those who hurt you to acknowledge their wrongdoing. These desires are deeply human, and I understand them. But restoration does not always mean receiving back the same person, position, or possession that was lost. Sometimes what is better is receiving the discernment not to return to the former place. Some relationships are not restored, but your trust in yourself is rebuilt. Some opportunities never return, but you discover a more suitable direction. Some money or time cannot be recovered, but you learn how to protect what remains and stop repeating the same choice. The deepest restoration sometimes occurs when what once wounded you no longer possesses enough power to govern your present day. What has been delayed is not always waiting for a heavenly command to release it instantly. Some things require patience, others require a different method, and some plans need to be released because they are no longer appropriate. Do not call every delay an attack. Sometimes you need to learn more, save more, rest, heal, or mature before carrying a new responsibility. Sometimes the door has not opened because you are knocking in the wrong place. Sometimes it remains closed because what lies behind it is not a healthy environment for you. Keep your heart flexible enough both to persevere and to adjust. Perseverance does not mean continually striking a door that does not belong to you. Wisdom helps you know when to continue, when to change direction, and when to accept that a chapter has ended. You do not need the permission of those who once doubted you before you begin changing. They may fail to recognize your effort, or they may have become accustomed to seeing you through the lens of your former self. Do not resent them forever, but neither should you give their limited perspective authority over your future. You do not need to announce to everyone that you are about to become a different person. Quietly do what needs to be done. Wake up more consistently. Complete delayed responsibilities. Keep your promises. Manage your spending. Learn a new skill and care for your health. Be careful with your words, kind toward your family, and honest in your work. These ordinary actions create a far more extraordinary life than grand declarations without action. When someone mocks you, do not answer by attempting to humiliate them. Perhaps they speak through ignorance, wounds of their own, or fear that your growth will change the relationship between you. Listen, if there is something worth considering in what they say, but do not absorb their contempt as the truth about you. You cannot control every word others speak, but you can decide which words are allowed to take root in your mind. Keep close those who can speak truth without degrading you, those who do not only applaud your success, but also remind you to correct your mistakes when needed. A healthy community neither worships you nor crushes you. It helps you become more humble, responsible, and steadfast. I want you to remember that what makes a person special is not that the whole of heaven stops to focus upon them, but their ability to live kindly within ordinary life. You do not need to imagine yourself above others in order to know that your life has value. Every person carries a story, a wound, and a journey that you cannot fully see. When you heal, judge less harshly those who are still struggling. When you have more resources, help others respectfully without making them feel inferior. When you gain understanding, share it with humility. Every gift you receive becomes more beautiful when it is used to bring peace, hope, and dignity to others. If you want to know whether your transformation is genuine, do not depend only upon the feelings of one moment. Examine the results over time. Are you calmer when provoked? Do you apologize more quickly? Are you less driven by the need for recognition? Do you know how to rest before becoming exhausted? Say no to what destroys you, and say yes to necessary responsibilities. Are you using your money, time, and words more wisely? Are you kind toward the people closest to you, or gentle only before strangers? These questions will help you recognize genuine growth. Do not be discouraged when the answers are not perfect. What matters is that you recognize where change is needed and continue moving forward. A new door may first open within the way you think, and from there many practical doors may become clearer. When fear no longer obscures your vision, you begin seeing solutions you previously overlooked. When you stop condemning yourself, you gain strength to learn and try again. When you forgive, your mind no longer spends as much energy imagining revenge. When you stop attempting to prove yourself to everyone, you become more focused upon the work that truly needs to be done. This is how many good changes begin, not loudly or instantly, but steadily. Value this process and do not destroy it simply because you cannot yet see a dramatic result. My beloved child, release the declaration that life has taken everything from you. You still possess the ability to choose, love, learn, and begin again. What you lost may have left an emptiness, but that emptiness does not need to remain forever as a wound. You can fill it with growth, sincere relationships, and meaningful work. Release your anger toward those who once hindered you, not because their actions were right, but because you no longer want to carry them into every future decision. Forgive yourself for not recognizing everything sooner. At that time, you knew only what you knew and possessed only the strength you had. Today you understand more, so live differently instead of continuing to punish yourself. I do not promise that every locked thing will open at once, but I remind you that no door necessary for your growth can be entered through resentment, laziness, or dishonesty. Prepare to receive what is good by becoming someone capable of caring for what you receive. If you desire better work, develop your abilities and professional discipline. If you desire a healthy relationship, learn communication, boundaries, and faithfulness. If you desire stability, build discipline. If you desire respect, live in a trustworthy way and learn to respect others as well. I do not require perfection before you begin, but I want you to remain willing. to learn throughout the journey. Now step out of the belief that destiny is something that happens entirely to you without your participation. The future is shaped by what you cannot control and by the choices you make each day. You cannot choose every circumstance, but you can choose your attitude, your response, and the kind of person you desire to become within that circumstance. Allow Michael to remind you to stand courageously. But do not wait for a messenger to perform your responsibilities for you. Submit the application yourself, make the call, complete the work, apologize, forgive, and leave the place that is no longer healthy. Seek assistance when necessary. Pray, and then use your own hands to do what lies within your ability. You stand before a turning point, not because a mysterious decree bearing your name has been announced, but because you now possess the ability to choose not to live as you once did. This is the freedom I want you to receive. Stop feeding the words that cause you to collapse. Stop returning to what you know will cause you to wither. Stop repeating the old story in a way that makes you believe you have no choices left. You have been wounded, but you are not only a wounded person. You have made mistakes, but you are not merely your mistakes. You have experienced delays, but you are not a hopeless life. You still have a new day to build, someone to love, a good deed to perform, and another step to take. Continue with gentle courage. Forgive others without returning to dependence. Forgive yourself without avoiding responsibility. Be grateful for what you possess while continuing to pursue what is better. Hope without illusion. Trust while remaining discerning. Act without rushing. When you encounter an obstacle, adjust instead of condemning yourself. When you receive an opportunity, accept it with humility. When you succeed, remember the days when you needed others to support you, and become someone who supports another person. I want you to end this moment in peace, not in excitement or fear about the unknown. Breathe slowly, look back upon the road you have traveled, and give thanks that you still possess the ability to change. The future does not need to arrive quickly in order to have meaning. What is genuinely good and lasting is often built one day at a time through choices that few people see. Let gratitude keep you humble, faith keep you steadfast, and love keep your heart from becoming dry and hard. Tomorrow may still contain difficult work, but you will enter it as a wiser version of yourself. Live a little more kindly, a little more honestly, and a little more courageously each day. In this way, what once appeared locked will gradually be released within you, what seemed lost will be replaced by growth, and you will recognize that the deepest turning point is not when the whole world suddenly changes for you, but when you decide to use the goodness within you to change the way you live in the world.